Well, aging business owners who are thinking of selling their business may want to think just a little bit faster. After this year, there may be more of a tax bite when you make that sale. So if you are a business owner and you are thinking about your exit strategy, should you rush it? Jeff Halpern is a business succession advisor here at TD Wealth. He joins me here in the studio. Nice to see you again.
Thank you very much, Kim.
Okay, let's start with, there have been some changes with regards to both how much tax is paid and when tax is paid for people who are thinking of selling their business. Some more material than others from what we spoke about, but what, in a nutshell, what are the changes?
Kim, the main change is an acceleration in the payment of the tax on the sale of business assets.
Okay.
In the current system, when someone sells their business assets, the intangible business assets, things like trademarks, patents, royalties,
goodwill,
all that stuff. It's a special category called eligible capital property.
Okay.
And when eligible capital property is sold today in the province of Ontario, for example, the tax rate's around 26.5% in the corporation.
Okay.
Under the new regime, they're going to change the way in which eligible capital property is taxed and tax it at around 50.17% in the province of Ontario.
That sounds significant.
It is a significant increase, and it sounds scary, Kim, but once the corporate profits are paid to the shareholder, it really results in approximately the same amount of tax overall that's paid between the corporation and the individual shareholders.
Okay, so the amount of tax that's being paid to the government hasn't changed that much.
Exactly.
But there is a reason why, there is a change in terms of when the tax is paid, and this is important.
Absolutely. The government will collect tax up front, and therefore it helps them with regard to their budgeting.
Now why, so ask a naive question here. So I'm a business owner and they collect the tax up front. Under the old regime, they wouldn't, and why would that be more beneficial for somebody?
Well, to the extent that you pay less tax up front, you retain more money in the corporation. And that money that's retained in the corporation ultimately has to be paid to the government when the corporation distributes the profit as a dividend. But in the meantime, the corporation can invest it, can buy real estate, can buy shares, can invest in other businesses, and therefore it puts the wealth to work.
Oh, and so that's significant. I know that you were running through an example, and I don't want to get into all the details here, but if you had a business with the example you used, with about $10 million in tangible assets, the amount of money that could be used, put to work over time was around how much?
$1.4 million approximately.
Wow.
So you'd pay about $1.3 million in tax when the corporation sold the eligible capital property, but you'd defer the $1.4 million in tax until the dividend was paid to the shareholder. So you'd have quite a bit of money for the corporation to invest.
Yeah, and get return on while you're waiting to pay that tax. Who would you say, in terms of, who's listening to this right now, who does this matter to? I mean, are these people who are in the midst of a transaction? Are they getting close? If someone's not thinking of selling for, I don't know, 5 years, they're probably not ready to do anything about it right now.
I wouldn't rush in to do anything if I was thinking to sell in 5 years, but if I was thinking of selling perhaps next year or the year after, I probably would want to seek some tax advice from my accountant or lawyer to determine whether or not it makes sense to trigger the current system of taxation today. And there are techniques that business owners can use to trigger the current system of taxation in anticipation of a sale, let's say, upcoming in 1 or 2 years.
All right, so take advantage of that current regime before the new one really comes into play.
Exactly right.
All right, Jeff, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kim.
That is Jeff Halpern. He's a business succession planner at TD Wealth, and he joined me here in studio. And a reminder, please talk to your advisor, lawyer, or accountant to figure out what works best for you.